everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So this is my take on the astrology for March 2025. Interesting month, right? So this is starting our eclipse season. So all of March has two eclipses, one in Virgo and one in Aries. But wait, there's more. We have both Mercury and Venus going retrograde, and we have the spring equinox, and finally, we have Neptune ingressing or going into Aries at the end of the month. So let's get into it. So we'll start off on the 2nd of March, where we will have Venus going retrograde, and it will go retrograde at 10 Aries, 50 minutes. And this is significant because we're talking about what? When we're talking about Venus, we're talking about women, anything pertaining to women, but we're also talking about money and values. So right when we kick off the beginning of March, these things are going to be coming up to be reviewed, right, during the retrograde. Both Mercury and Venus, kind of in tandem, are going retrograde at similar degrees. And likewise, they're going direct at similar degrees in Pisces in April. I'll cover that more in April, but just to give you a heads up on that. All right. So we have, for the USA anyway, the 9th of March, our clocks go forward as well, just to confuse us a little bit more, right? So the first eclipse that's going to happen will be in Virgo. It will be at 23 Virgo, 56 minutes, which rounded up to about 24 degrees Virgo. So that's the moon. But because it's a full moon, that means the sun is in the opposite sign at the same degrees, but in Pisces instead. So look to see if you've got anything, say, around 24 degrees, firstly of Virgo, and then opposite sign, which is Pisces. In terms of what kind of transits go with this, we have that moon, the full moon, conjunct the south node. And this is in Virgo. And if we think about, well, what's Virgo all about? Virgo can be about our health. It can be about important facts or important information. Mercury rules Virgo, so we look to where is Mercury. And so when I looked at the moon conjuncting the south node, I thought that potentially there's going to be important facts come from the past. South node is the past, as well as the moon, by the way. That's something to do with a health crisis. Now, we've already got something ongoing. I'm making this video kind of mid-February 2025. So there is something going on right now. But this is going to bring it to a big head, right? But it can also have to do with just straight off important past information and facts come to light, right? And if we look at other things that are happening, we've got that moon opposite Saturn. And so this is saying follow the rules and regulations as I say them. So those in command of, say, old institutions, or they have the rules and regulations that they can exert on you, they're going to be doing it at this full moon. Now, nicely, we have a setup of Uranus trining the moon, and then, of course, sextiling the sun. But honestly, even though this is a trine, and it's certainly favorable energy, because Uranus's energy is sudden, unexpected things happening, I really got this because that moon, which is trine Uranus, is also conjunct the south node. I just got this sudden removals of some sort coming about. That's what I get at this whole thing. Now, I did do an actual video on all 4 eclipses in 2025. So the eclipses happen in March and September. And they're really important eclipses, all of them actually. But this one in particular is a big one because in Virgo, because it's got a companion eclipse, a new moon eclipse that happens in September, the latter part of September 2025. So look to what happens here let's just say the first half of in March 2025, especially regarding what Virgo is ruled by, and that's Mercury. So that means communications, messages, important information, important facts. Pay attention to what comes up at this eclipse, because it's going to reveal a new beginning the latter part of September 2025, right? When we have our second eclipse in Virgo, but that one in September will be a new moon. On the 15th of March, Mercury now goes retrograde, and it goes retrograde at 9 Aries, 35 minutes. So, as of the 15th of March, I'm just remembering Julius Caesar and things like that, and, beware the Ides of March type thing. We both have Venus and now Mercury going retrograde mid-month. So we know that retrogrades can slow things down. It can ask us to reflect. It can scramble communications sometimes. So I would say all the above is going to apply to things, not only Mercury related, which are communications, certainly any kind of contract, that sort of thing, you got to look at very carefully. It's always recommended that if you can, don't sign a contract during a Mercury retrograde. Sometimes you just can't, right? You got to still live your life. But I would say if you were organizing and negotiating this contract, say, way prior to the Mercury retrograde, but now you're going to sign it on the Mercury retrograde, I would say that that's probably okay. I personally would still try to avoid it if I can. But because everything happened prior to Mercury going retrograde, if that's the case with you, it's probably going to be okay. The next thing we have happening on the 20th of March at 2:02 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time is going to be the spring equinox. And basically that is the sun going to 0 degrees of Aries, 0 minutes. And this is also the celebration of the astrological new year as well. What we have is the moon at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, 21 minutes. I love that moon. It's optimistic, it's positive, and it's happy. So there may be a lot of optimism around the spring equinox. A lot of emotional happiness for some people, especially if you've got, say, something in Sagittarius that's around, let's say, 5, 6, or 7 degrees of Sagittarius. There could be some nice things coming for you for the next 3 months from the 20th of March. So we also have the Neptune and North Node conjunct in Pisces. And because we've got the sun at 0 degrees of Aries, it also is conjunct. So I see this as potentially very inspirational, that we may feel inspired with regards to our collective destiny. The destiny part is the North Nodes. The Neptune is our inspiration. And certainly if you've got anything in the arts, music, dance, even film, that type of thing, this could be a very positive time period, starting at the spring equinox for, say, about 3 months or so. But the other thing that Neptune does, of course, is it dissolves things, and it also can cast a cloud or a confusing type energy around. So that although there may be some happy, optimistic times emotionally, there may be also this sort of reticence about, yeah, but I'm really not sure where our collective destiny is going. It's not clear to me. At the spring equinox, we also have Mars widely trine Saturn. This is a good thing. Trines are always positive. And so this is basically taking positive, forward-moving energy, Mars, together with Saturn, which is our rules, our regulations, those experts. So there may be some expert movement forward as a result of something that those that are experts say, now's the time to go ahead. Now's the time to move forward. So it's coming from more the old institutions as opposed to new ones, but it's certainly people who know the rules and regulations are saying, go, this is the time to do it. So the second eclipse of March is going to be the final eclipse in Aries, because as you recall, the past 18 months or so, we've had eclipses in both Aries and Libra. This one is in Aries. It's a new moon, which bodes well, and is at 9 degrees of Aries, 00 minutes on the 29th of March at 3:58 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now, the ruler of this eclipse is Mars. So we look to say, well, where is Mars? Mars is square Chiron. And so at this eclipse, I really do believe there's going to be some health issues that escalate, right? The Mars part is escalating. The square is difficulties and Chiron is health. So we're going to have to take a look at what happens at this time. But that is what I see happening here. We also, though, nicely have a sextile between Saturn and Uranus. So this could see new, unique ideas to old problems. Well, hopefully those new, unique ideas to old problems is to do, or has to do, with the health issues that are going to pop up here. Mars, again, sextiling Uranus, basically supports, it's a supportive thing here, where it actually says, you know, what have we got going on here that's we need to break free from? So the breaking free is Uranus, and the Mars is energy to make it us break free. Opportunities to break free. Opportunities for independence. Right? And then Mars also squares Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith can mean different things. A lot of times it'll say it's like the more difficult side of the feminine. But it can also just represent an energy of, I don't care what you think, I'm going to do what I want to do. And, you know, this whole thing of willfully doing something, right? Now, supporting that whole thing that I just spoke about with Mars and Black Moon Lilith is a yod. So we have a yod at this final eclipse in Aries. At its base, we have Saturn at 24 of Pisces, Uranus at 24 of Taurus, pointing to Black Moon Lilith, up there at about 23 of Libra. And so this is really, again, emphasizing this surprising, Uranus, willful, Black Moon Lilith, actions from the old guard. That's it. So this yod is standing out in relief or in neon, a neon sign, saying, you're going to have to get over this. You're going to have to work this through. And you're going to have these energies, though, that are saying, nah, I want to do it my way. And poof, surprising things coming up. But these are generated from the old guard because Saturn is involved here, right? So there may be some big upset, too, regarding old existing institutions as well as old and existing rules and regulations. So on the 30th of March, one more thing here, right? We have Neptune, ingress to Aries. Now, if we look at the last time we had Neptune in Aries, there were a few things going on. It's around 1861. We had the U.S.-American Civil War start. We interestingly also had the unification of Germany and Italy. And then we also have to ask, well, what does Neptune in Aries mean? And there's a few things. It's purposeful action, but also reaching for our individual dreams. And I really like that. In terms of what may evolve over Neptune in Aries, we may see AI increasing dramatically here and really evolving into something quite sophisticated. But also, when we look at Neptune, this can be religious stuff, right? And Aries is all about war. So I'm also thinking there may be some elements of a holy war going on as well with this Neptune going into Aries at the end of March. Let's hope that instead that Neptune can represent spirituality and that we can all take on the mantle of being more spiritual individuals and taking responsibility for emanating that, right? So let's just do a little peek of April. April is going to be a little less dramatic than March, but we do have both Mercury and Venus going direct at 26 and 24 degrees of Pisces respectively, which I think that's good. So expect maybe some resolution in different things, maybe money matters or anything to do with women. And then the moons we have in April are a full moon at 23 Libra and a new moon at the end of April at 7 degrees of Taurus. All right, let's move on next to the sun signs and or ascendants. You pick. I suggest you listen or watch for both. All right, Aries. Well, Aries, you have your new moon eclipse this month, right? So this puts a little big focus on you. But let's start off with that full moon in Virgo. So the full moon in Virgo falls in your 6th house. And it really speaks to a few things. The 6th house tends to be what you do day to day. And if you don't work, it is, what do I do day to day as part of my ongoing daily activities? If you do work, this is the day-to-day work that you do, right? But the 6th house is also all forms of health. So being a full moon, typically we talk about, these things coming with a big spotlight on it. There could also be some endings here as well of note. Now, the thing is that as a sign, Virgo rules the 6th house. So there's a double emphasis here for you, Aries. So both or either of these areas could be affected. And the other thing is there's small animals as well is ruled by the 6th house. And so there may be some ending or beginning with an animal too. I mean, just because it's a full moon doesn't mean you can't have a new beginning, because eclipses really are wild cards. So a full moon, you could have something new start, but you could have both something stop and something start. So there could be for some Aries that you will have a new animal come into your life. That may be very delightful. It may even help your health, right? Being in Virgo. Then when we look at that eclipse that's yours, right? That new moon in Aries, that's your 1st house. So this, I would say, is very significant for you, Aries. This is a whole new start for you. So Happy New Year to all my Aries clients as well as viewers. Now, we know that we have Mercury and Venus going retrograde in this month of March. They do go direct next month in 24 to 26 degrees of Pisces, right? That's actually your 12th house. We'll talk about that more in April. But it is notable that both these planets go retrograde in your sign in March. So I would say that if you're in the midst of either signing contracts, dealing with some money thing as well, look to March as that month that you're going to be negotiating these things or going over the details regarding them, right? Now, the Aries part of it says, I want to move forward here, right? Because Mars rules Aries, your sign. And so there's going to be this initiative type feeling of, I want to move forward with, let's just say it's a money deal of some sort, but you're not going to be able to. There's going to be a delay of some sort, or there's going to be a need to look at the details again. But if you are negotiating for, say, more money, this month of March would be excellent for you, Aries, to do that. Probably going to be very favorable for you. And because these two planets go direct in Pisces in your 12th house, the final deals are going to be done behind the scenes, not out in the open. Yeah. Now, when we look at that Neptune going into your sign, Aries, at the end of the month, this is phenomenal. I mean, at its best, Aries, that Neptune is going to be bringing in some real inspiration for you, like to get you moving, right? Now, it can bring in confusion and unclearness, cloudiness, but it can also dissolve things too. So I'm thinking that in Aries, you want to move forward, but maybe you've not been able to move forward. And maybe this Neptune going into your sign, Aries, is going to give you inspiration to pursue whatever it is that you want to do on an individual basis. Now that's going to stay in there for a few years, Neptune in Aries, supporting you, right? That's the most supportive part of Neptune in Aries. It's also the spiritual warrior, right? So there could be an aspect of that you take on a mantle that is similar to that type of energy. Now, the other thing that's going to happen the last week of May is Saturn will also move into your sign, Aries. So this is bringing stability. Now, coupled with Neptune, because it's going to be close to Neptune on and off right the way through next year, and it conjuncts next year with Saturn, with Neptune in February, exactly. But it is very close. This can be bringing literal stability and structure to your dreams and wishes, right? So, there could be some Aries that manifest some of their hopes, dreams, and wishes here, especially as it applies to you expressing your individual self, maybe pioneering something new, or just breaking free and moving forward with your life as you want it. All right, take care, Aries. All right, everybody. That just about wraps up what I have to say about March. Wow, just a packed month. I'm just going to remind you again that I did do a whole video on all 4 eclipses in March and September, and all many details about what I think of them. The video is below. I will still cover, at least to some extent, in my monthly videos, the eclipses as well. So you don't have to go there. I will still cover it in my monthlies. But if you want a lot more details, I'd go to the actual video on it. I wish everybody the best of luck in March. It's going to be lots of twists and turns, is all I got to say. And if you do want your chart done, you know, I love doing it. All my services are below. I think most people can afford something in there. I'd be delighted to hear from you. If you've got any comments, especially if you've got comments to say, oh yeah, last time I had this, or say you comment as you have one of these eclipses in March and you say, oh wow, I just want to let you know what happened to me. I think all my viewers and my actual listeners like to hear and read that type of thing as well. So I encourage you to comment. All right, everybody, sending you lots of love. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.